Welcome to this presentation of Behind the Scenes. Hi, I'm Lou Wehage. Today we're going to meet three Baltimore County Public Schools employees who support our very excellent education program. We'll be talking with Steve Jones, Coordinator, Office of Minority Education, Terry Mascaroni, Cafeteria Person in Charge at Warren Elementary School, and our first guest, Rodney Gobrecht, who works in the Office of Instructional Materials and Services as an instructional specialist. Baltimore County Public Schools has 148 schools serving over 80,000 students. Our 6,000 teachers have come to expect, and rightly so, the ready availability of instructional materials and equipment. Our next guest, Rod Gobrecht, works specifically with audiovisual materials and equipment and plays an important behind-the-scenes role in solving a dizzying variety of problems as they arise. Rod, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Lou. Good to be here.
I guess we've had who's worked for Library Media Service, so it's a special treat.
Great.
Very nice to have you here. Let our viewers know what your background is.
Well, I came from Baltimore City, where I was a social studies teacher, and I've been in the county since 1973.
I see. Did you work in audiovisual at all in Baltimore City?
I did in Baltimore City for about 4 years or so in their instructional materials center.
So they had a similar setup?
Very similar, except they didn't have the library services connected with it as we do.
Yeah, and we didn't at the time you came here either. So
That's right.
That's right. So, okay, give us an idea of what you do here, Ron.
Well, I guess I could say I have three functions. One of them is material circulation, another is equipment inventory, and the third, equipment repair.
Oh, I see. Okay. Let's start out with the first one that you mentioned then.
Well, all of these have kind of like spin-offs to them. With the circulation of materials, we circulate about 40,000 items a year to the schools on loans. And this is through our media library and also through our 3 resource centers.
How many people do that? It must be at least a couple of hundred, I imagine.
No. It's much smaller than that. We have actually 5 people working out of our media library, and each resource center has 1 person as
And
a
how many
staff
materials
member.
do you circulate?
About 40,000 a year.
Wow, that's impressive.
Then we have some related tasks. We've gotten into the Maryland interlibrary loan operation with high schools, where students and staff may borrow books or copies of articles from magazines from all over the state and even from all over the United States. And 2 of the people who are related with the media library take care of that for the students and the staffs at the high schools. No doubt next year they'll want to do it for the middle schools as well. That's
Working their way down to kindergarten, I guess.
That's right. That'll happen.
What kind of materials and supplies do you distribute?
Well, in the media library, we have 16mm films
About
and
how many
video
titles do you
cassettes. About 3,000 titles. And in the resource centers, we mainly distribute AV kits, which are really too expensive for schools to buy on their own. Some of these cost a couple $100, so they just circulate around from school to school.
And the the media centers are located near the
There are
regional
3 strategically located throughout the county in northern, western, and central.
making it relatively easy for people to get to them and pick up
Yes,
stuff.
and I think you had one of our resource center people on this show.
Yes, we
sometime
did,
ago.
as a matter of fact, a while ago. Of the circulation of media library, I'm curious about, have you noticed any trends in there in terms of 16mm film versus videotapes?
Oh, people are definitely going to the videotapes. It's just the kind of thing that's a lot more quiet to use, there's a lot more ease of use, and they still use the 16mm films, but they're continually looking for more and more video cassettes to use, and we're continually adding to the equipment that they have in the school to use it. So it's a long process, but it's building up.
Do you envision purchasing many more 16mm films?
No, in
primarily...
fact, I think, Lou, it's been about 5 years since we bought any at all.
Oh, really? So we're sort of living off the old titles, and you're buying new video
Trying to get the
titles.
most out of what we still have left, that's all.
Is there any equipment that's available? Does it look like anything's going to be available to project video to make it a little easier to see? Have you heard of anything?
Well,
like
one
that?
of our major problems is projecting a video cassette, say, for a large group. I'll use an assembly as an example. And there have been some breakthroughs there, although the equipment is terribly expensive. We have one item in our film library in which you can project a videotape onto a large screen for an auditorium use.
But it's not available readily for the
No,
other groups.
it costs so much that we just couldn't do it. But I hope that by next year there'll be about 5 or 6 in the county, which they can all share. They won't be in our media library. We'll just have one here, but we'll try to spread them around so that the schools can borrow them when they have a special need.
We're talking about equipment now, and it reminds me that you deal with equipment repair, which quite a
Yes.
sensitive area, I guess.
No one else wanted to deal with that, and it is enjoyable in a way. We have about 6,000 items a year that are sent in for repair, and keep track of them on behalf of the schools. This is something that's an aggravation to the school people, and we try to help them out as much as we can and keep track of them into the vendor and back to the school.
Well, I have to interrupt you for a second because I have to tell you that I've never heard anything but good about what you do for the schools. There are a lot of compliments out there for you, and maybe you never hear them, but I do.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So there is a system then set up for the schools to tag the equipment, send it in, get it repaired, and then you get it back to them as soon as
That's right,
possible.
and we tie that in with the inventory system because we have all this equipment on inventory, so therefore by adding the repair to it, we can really better keep track of it all.
So every time a new piece of equipment's purchased in a school, whether it be with normal county channels or by PTA funds or something else like that, it goes on the inventory? Is that the way it
We
works?
try to capture every one of those. Now that led to another job. When we purchase new equipment for schools, it all comes to a central place, and there we capture this initial inventory information, but it also obligates us to mark it, make sure that it is on the inventory, and then send it to the right school.
I've seen those inventory lists. They're really rather impressive for each school, representing a lot of different kinds of equipment. How do they stay updated within the school?
The school gets a list twice a year by which they can use this list to go over their inventory and make sure that it's right. If everything is done properly, though, there are almost no changes because anything that's new is automatically added to their list. Anything that's in for repair is noted as being in for repair on their inventory. Anything that's discarded is also noted. So if everything has gone smoothly, they don't have to do much except to say that it's there. And they only have to do that once a year.
So it's almost self-updating in
We
some
hope.
respects. Yeah.
Because inventory is a job that no one likes to do either, we try to make it as easy as possible for them because any time we can save them on a job like inventory or repair, that's time that they'll use to work with the students or with the staff. So we try to work behind the scenes and low key.
And it works very well. Thanks for being with us, Rod.
Okay, thank you.
Join us right after this, please.